Marcus Hayes joining us of the Philadelphia Daily News with Armin and Levac, 104.5 The Team. And Marcus, the 76ers are 0-18 on the season, but it's exciting there tonight in Philadelphia because Kobe Bryant and the Lakers are coming to town. What is the atmosphere like leading into Kobe's final game tonight in Philadelphia?
You know, I'm from the New York area. I grew up north of Albany, went to Syracuse, so I'm a transplant here. It's hilarious to see these Philadelphians so conflicted. Kobe is kind of doing them a favor by making this the first stop on his farewell tour, but no athlete except maybe Sidney Crosby and, Michael Irvin from the Dallas Cowboys back in the day is despised as much in Philadelphia as Kobe Bryant, because when he came back in 2001 to win the NBA championship and beat Allen Iverson's Sixers, in his press conference, when he landed, he divorced himself of Philadelphia. He says, I'm not of here. I'm from here, but I'm not of here. So there is no greater heresy in Philadelphia than to deny your roots here. And, it's going to be hilarious. There are going to be people cheering tonight. There are going to be people who just despise Kobe Bryant and hate him with all of their soul. And I don't know, they can wish no good on Kobe Bryant, and I don't know what the team's going to do. I don't know if the team dares give him a rocking chair or golf clubs. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be fascinating theater.
That was going to be my question. Do you know if there's anything planned? But that sounds like a rocky road for the 76ers to walk.
Well, the Sixers right now, their plan is to make sure Jahlil Okafor stays out of jail. So that they're a little distracted at this point with keeping their, blue blood Duke kid out of the clink. So I don't know that they went out and got Kobe anything special. And it's not a very smoothly run operation. It's kind of the forgotten son of Josh Harris, who also owns the New Jersey Devils and takes great care of those guys, but ignores the Philadelphia 76ers, who have become a punchline. And it will only be exacerbated tonight if Kobe's two-win Laker team, Kobe shooting 30% from the field, Kobe stealing money for a second straight year, beats them as well.
Okay, we'll get to Okafor here in a second. Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Daily News.
So much to cover.
Does Kobe get booed tonight? What's his reception then?
There are definitely going to be people in the house booing him. There are people who just it's difficult to express the demanded loyalty of Philadelphians. If you're from Philadelphia, they very, very much take care of you as one of their own. But if you betray them, it's heresy. You are excommunicated from being Philadelphian, especially if you go to somewhere like Los Angeles, which is the ultimate anti-Philadelphian, the ultimate anti-Philadelphia destination. It's all glamour and thin people and white collar and showbiz and fake. And Philadelphia prides itself, rightly or not, on being blue collar and real. So, there are legions of people who despise Kobe Bryant.
Marcus, we're hearing reports that ticket prices are soaring, though, as the farewell tour begins.
Yes, they're going from $1 to $7. That's a 700%. I mean, seriously, it's going to be sold out tonight, and a lot of people want to see him. It's kind of a collector's thing, also. But I think there will be a lot of season ticket holders. Well, one of the things about when a place sells out is it sells out to the scalpers, and the scalpers make a killing. But also, the people who have season tickets, the 3 or 4 dozen that the Sixers have left, they're not all that interested in going to, event games like this, especially in the middle of the week. So I'm sure that StubHub will make a killing, but a lot of people who are going not to cheer Kobe Bryant, but to boo him.
Interesting. Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Daily News with Armin and Levac, 104.5 The Team. He's on Twitter at InkstainedWretch. Marcus Hayes on Twitter at InkstainedWretch. You mentioned Jahlil Okafor, the number 3 overall pick of the Sixers in the past draft. Give us the latest with Okafor off the court.
Well, he very famously, thanks to TMZ, the wonderful news outlet, he was caught on film pushing and punching a patron of a bar outside a Boston club last week. Since then, it has come to light that he had another altercation in early October before the season began, right after training camp broke, in which he allegedly tried to assault a guy in a car, punch him through the window, which precipitated the passenger and maybe the driver pointing guns at him, which the Sixers knew about and apparently didn't take very seriously because they let him have his head after that anyway, have free reign. He also was caught speeding on one of the local bridges, one of the big local bridges here, the Ben Franklin Bridge, which is only about a mile and a half long. And I want to see the vehicle that gets up to 108 miles an hour in and that quickly, considering you have to be going about 50 when you hit the downside. Jahlil Okafor is a very angry young man at this point. He didn't go first overall, which he took to be a huge insult, a tremendous slight. He went to Philadelphia where he knew he would lose probably for the first 4 years of his career, after which he kind of has his own fate in his hand. But he went from being, probably entering the Final Four, the biggest deal in college basketball and one of the biggest deals in all of basketball because he was the hot new thing. He was the Wiggins. He was Jabari Parker. He was the next big thing that was going to revolutionize the game. And then after the Final Four, and in the Final Four, where you can argue he was or wasn't outplayed, especially against Wisconsin, his stock started to drop and reality started to set in that, doughy, slow, big guys aren't really fashionable in the NBA. And then he got drafted by the worst team in the history of the sport, arguably the worst franchise in the history of the sport. And then he said, you know what? Life isn't so great, and he hasn't handled it very well. The culture of losing here in Philadelphia around the Sixers is palpable. It's really hard to understand that. It's hard for people who haven't played sports or been around it a lot to understand how oppressive losing, 30% of the time is in any sport. But to lose 100% of the time or 90% of the time for years on end with no relief in sight, that's soul-crushing. And this is how he's dealing with it.
The Knicks play them tomorrow night. What happens there? Is this a team that could rise up and beat the Knicks?
Well, this team can beat a lot of teams. I don't think they'll beat the Clippers or the Warriors or a solid team with solid system, the Spurs or somebody like that. But they probably should have beaten Houston. They lack a point guard. They have 0 point guards on their roster in their system, guys who should be starting in the NBA. And for my money, a point guard does 2 things for you. He gets you going, and he wins the game for you at the end by keeping you from losing it. That has been their bugaboo since Sam Hinkie, the general manager, took over. They had a rookie point guard, Michael Carter-Williams from Syracuse, great player, traded him in the middle of last year, replaced him for, 3 weeks with a really good point guard? Well, I shouldn't say that. A point guard who belongs in the NBA named Ish Smith, but they declined to re-sign Ish Smith or anyone else who knows how to play basketball at the point. So it's really, really hard to win NBA games, close NBA games down the stretch without a point guard when teams can foul certain people, they can put personnel out there that are hard to guard, and they can turn you over. Their turnover rate, the Sixers are abysmal when it comes to turnovers, but their turnover rate in the fourth quarter it's absolutely comical.
Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Daily News with Armin and Levac, 104.5 The Team. What's going to happen with Chip Kelly?
I don't believe, and I never believed, that Chip Kelly would either quit or really fire anybody on his staff after this season. The defense is taking a lot of heat right now because they've given up 90 points in the last 2 games and they've allowed a couple of comebacks during the year. But it's kind of undermanned and kind of beat up. So I don't know that the defensive coordinator, who Chip Kelly took a lot of heat for hiring, Billy Davis, who'd never really accomplished anything, but is a very good communicator and a very good teacher. I don't know that he's going to blame the season on Billy Davis, especially being so committed to the scheme that Billy ran. Only 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, they were a 4-3 defense. It has been recast as a 3-4 defense, and they put a lot of 4-3 guys in a 3-4 scheme and had to reteach them how to play football. Some worked out fine. Some didn't work out fine. They're not here any longer. So it'd be very difficult to change anything substantive right now for Chip Kelly. I don't think he's going to any college job. It's very difficult for people who haven't experienced being around a Super Bowl winning NFL coach. That's the closest to being king of the world as you can be in sports, being a Super Bowl winning NFL coach. You can win 10 college titles. You still haven't won the Super Bowl. All that said, another year of this, and I don't think Jeffrey Lurie, the Eagles owner, will stand for their team being kind of a laughingstock because of Chip Kelly's system. And I don't think Chip Kelly can stomach being humiliated any further, especially since he's alienated, he and his staff and his front office, because he took over the front office, have alienated most of the league with their arrogance.
So next season starts, Chip Kelly's still in place?
He's in place, but that doesn't mean he's in place at the bye week, and it certainly doesn't mean he's in place for 2 drafts from now.
Got it. Hot seat gets hotter next year. All right, so the Eagles.
That's right, and we get to talk about it.
Hey, we'll take that. Marcus Hayes of Philadelphia Daily News. All right, the Eagles. Everybody's got a shot right now in the NFC East. What kind of shot do you give the Eagles to win the NFC East?
They can win 8 games, and 8 games probably gets it done. Dallas could go 5-0 and win 8 games if Tony Romo were right. You know what I mean? If it's such a bad league and there's such a bad division that it's really hard to utter the sentence, well, Washington's in first place, because they shouldn't be anywhere near first place, but they're probably the only team playing to their capability, to their capacity. And I don't know if that gets it done. The Eagles have a realistic shot. It's not a great shot, but it's a realistic shot, especially if Sam Bradford comes off his concussion this game in New England, with New England reeling the way that they are. I mean, if Rob Gronkowski doesn't play, that makes New England human. Not just beatable, but human. And it changes the whole balance of the NFL. If Rob Gronkowski's healthy and you get a couple of guys to season around him, that's a pretty good team. But if Rob Gronkowski doesn't play, this week especially, it's a whole different ball of wax. And the Eagles have 10 days. They were humiliated on Thursday on Thanksgiving, so they had a little bit of extra time. They've got some guys who are hurt. Their left tackle, one of their middle linebackers, one of their cornerbacks. So they've got time to regroup. This is probably the worst case scenario for New England. So yeah, the Eagles could win on Sunday. I can't believe I'm saying they could win in Foxborough against Tom Brady with 1 loss on Sunday. But it's more than wide open. You could have an 8-win team, be a 3-touchdown underdog at home in the first round of the playoffs.
Marcus Hayes of the Philadelphia Daily News at Inkstained Reg.
Cheery pictures. Cheery pictures.
At Inkstained Reg on Twitter. And Marcus, try not to drink too much when you're covering the Sixers, man, all right? Be careful with that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's the thing. The Sixers are a gateway drug,
Marcus, thanks for jumping on today, man. That was fun.
My pleasure.